Welcome to Mock the Mock, where I take a look at someone else's mock draft and I'm mocking, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. And I got a great one for you because we're traveling back over to CBS, taking a look at Chris Trapasso and his mock draft. So without further ado, let's go ahead, do the nitty gritty. We got pick one. We have seemingly the New England Patriots. I'm not aware if there's any trades in this mock draft. And it is the New England Patriots. They're going to take Travis Hunter, corner / wide receiver out of Colorado. They're going to opt to take the Heisman Trophy winner because, fun fact, the Patriots, they have a need at wide receiver. They have a need at corner. Whatever Travis Hunter ends up doing full-time in the NFL, cool. It fits a need for the Patriots. So let's keep rolling. Let's go to the Tennessee Titans here at pick 2. As they're going to go with Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. So the Titans, hey, they need wide receiver. It's basically Calvin Ridley and nobody else. The Treylon Burks experiment, it's done. It's over. Let's forget about it. We got D-Hop, he's already traded. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is going to be a free agent. So yeah, wide receiver would make sense except for, well, quarterback, right? You're in a position to take the top quarterback in this class. Do you pass that up just because, well, it's a less than ideal quarterback class? Do you really want to run it another year with the Mayo man? I mean, maybe they, in free agency, they go after like Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones. I don't know. We'll figure all those things out as we go along. But Tetairoa McMillan, kind of an interesting pick. I kind of like, if I'm not going to go quarterback, I kind of want to opt for defense. But that's just me. Pick 3, Cleveland Browns go with Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. So no defense taken thus far. Again, well, depending on what Travis Hunter is. And yeah, the Browns, you look at their tackle situation, and granted, they've been a beat up team this year, especially when it comes to the offensive line. But you do look at the tackle situation and be like, yeah, we'd like to do something about that just in case DeJuan Jones, well, is in fact not that good. Like maybe this sophomore slump is more than just a sophomore slump. They got Conklin on the other side. So yeah, you could definitely opt for Campbell. But again, you're in a position to take quarterback 1. You know, Deshaun Watson isn't that. But again, depending on how you feel about the quarterback class, you just kick that can further down the road. I mean, there might be, if Kirk Cousins does get released, there could be a potential reunion between him and Kevin Stefanski. That could be a thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. Before we get back to the video, I want to give a special thanks to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. It's the best place to play weekly best ball, or my favorite, higher, lower on player picks. They have free promos each and every day that you can take advantage of. And the best part is when you sign up using promo code BROSHMO, they will match that first deposit up to $1,000 reduced. So remember, when you download the app, sign up, use promo code BROSHMO to take advantage of that ludicrous offer. But as always, play responsibly, play within your means. Pick 4, New York Giants. They're taking a quarterback. Of course they are. They go with Cam Ward. I do think stylistically, he's probably the better pick for Brian Daboll, but that's if Daboll is here. And again, that's assuming that Daboll had a little bit to do with Buffalo picking Josh Allen. At least he had something to do with the development of Josh Allen. So they take Cam Ward, who's the more toolsy quarterback between him and Shadur. But yeah, dude, I mean, the Giants, they screwed up last week by winning. And we think, hey, they've now taken themselves out of the quarterback picture. Maybe not. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to go with Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. I love Will Johnson. People forget about him because he's kind of been hurt and beat up, but he had, I think, a pair of pick 6s this year. He was actually pretty good when on the field. To me, he's still corner 1 in this class. Jacksonville would love to pair up Tyson Campbell, well, with an adequate corner 2 that's not Ronald Darby and Materik. Is it Materik or is it Manerick? I don't know. Regardless, the former Arkansas corner who honestly had an all right year, but he's more of a depth guy. So truly pairing up Campbell with a stud like Johnson, and helps your defense immensely. Carolina Panthers are going to go with Abdul Qadir, edge out of Penn State. Fun fact, I feel like Abdul Carter going to the Panthers has kind of become Ashton Genty going to the Cowboys. But it just makes so much sense. Like, this defense is just, it's not great. It's one of the worst defenses in football in terms of a talent standpoint. And you need to elevate that ceiling of talent. And you start that by, well, drafting talent for the defense. Of course, you could do free agency and whatnot, but you're going to have to go out and get some good, young, cheap talent. And Abdul Carter, for me, is edge 1. Pick 7, the New York Jets go with Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. And I actually love this pick. You get to pair him up with Quinnen Williams. You have promising edge talent in Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson. Can they go quarterback? They could, but I mean, again, it's kind of murky what happens with Aaron Rodgers this offseason. I mean, I feel like they're probably going to move on from him, and we could see a somewhat of a rebuild for the Jets, but you never know. You never know. And then at pick 8, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to go with Shedeur Sanders because, of course, they are. So I find this very convenient. Maybe it's just me that the Giants and the Raiders, despite winning last week, moving down in the draft board, they still managed to get the top quarterbacks in this class. Because I really feel like legitimately, like the Browns and the Titans are going to be big players potentially, just because, hey, they can take a swing at the top quarterback. And like, no questions asked. Be like, feel okay about it. Like, okay, let's go ahead, take a swing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We burned our first rounder, is what it is. But we took a chance at the most valuable position on an NFL roster. And I don't hate that. But in this case, Shedeur going to the Raiders, big market. I'm sure Deion will be happy. Matter of fact, Deion will probably be the head coach for Las Vegas after year 2 of Antonio Pierce doesn't go well, and gets to reunite with his son. But that's a little fan fiction on my part.
Everybody loves the NFL draft, and I know you want to be familiar with every potential prospect that your team may draft. So I got good news for you. My draft guide is available for purchase. It is good throughout the entire draft cycle, and it updates through the season regularly. You'll get my current evals and rankings on hundreds of different players with player backgrounds and analytics. It also contains combine and pro day numbers, as well as my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. You can purchase it for a one-time payment of $30 on PayPal, Venmo, and now I have the Cash App. Follow the link in the description and be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. That is how I share it with you. So please don't make me hunt down your email. Just don't do it. Anywho, it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel.
Pick 9, Chicago Bears. They're going to go with Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas. I think for the Bears, regardless, this pick is going to be in the trenches, whether it's defensive line or offensive line. I feel like with a very good offensive line free agent class, they're probably going to go out and try to fix the problems with the offensive line via free agency, and maybe they just kind of like take advantage of a very good defensive line class in the draft. That could be it. But I would argue Banks is probably the next highest guy on the board here. Maybe you make a case for some of the edge guys like James Pierce. Some people like Mikael Williams, Jalen Walker. We could talk about Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart. It's just a really good edge class. But Banks, you could probably start him early at guard with Braxton Jones there at left tackle, but you probably know Jones isn't the long-term option. Not saying that he's playing bad, because he's not, but you are going to have to figure out if you want to pay him or not. New Orleans Saints, they're going to go with Luther Burden, the third wide receiver out of Mizzou. And I feel like if I'm the Saints, I'd rather a Tetairoa McMillan type of wide receiver, someone who could come in and be that prototypical X alpha, rather than very good after the catch player in Luther Burden. But if they keep Clint Kubiak, then shoot, maybe you use this guy like Deebo Samuel, which is literally the first line in here. I didn't notice it until I just started talking. But I feel like the Saints could really go a bevy of ways. It could be offensive line. It could be defensive line. You could really talk me into either, or you could talk me into a wide receiver here as well. San Francisco 49ers go with James Pierce Jr., edge out of Tennessee. For me, he is probably going to be edge 2, but then again, we have a long offseason process. Things can change. But I think he's done really, really well this year. And yeah, he's still developing as a 3-down player in terms of what he can do against the run. He's still developing his body because he is like a sub 250. But he gives you that pass rush. And really, that's what the Niners have been missing on this defensive line, is a deep rotation that can actually attack the passer. Indianapolis Colts are going to go with Nick Scorton, edge out of Texas A&M. He kind of feels like, okay, we're going to lose Deo Ogayinbo, so let's go ahead and get someone who is an adequate replacement in terms of like the body size, right? Someone who could bring in a similar skill set, but with Scorton, you're kind of hoping to get something better than that, something with a higher ceiling. See, again, Ogayinbo, he is a free agent. They probably let him walk. I always say this. If I'm the Colts, I'd want to keep addressing the defensive line, especially if you're going to end up keeping Gus Bradley. The dude never blitzes, and he expects his front four to win by themselves, to win on their own. Granted, some of this is schemed because you're going to deal with a lot of stunts when it comes to Gus Bradley, but still, it relies on the front four to get wins. And to be frank, they just aren't. Pick 13, Ashton Jeanty goes to the Cowboys. We could literally move on. We have talked about this one ad nauseum. Pick 14, Arizona Cardinals go with, oh, my boy, Princely Umami Ellen out of Ole Miss. He has one of the higher pass rush win rates among the edge class. I'm a huge fan. I don't think he's like the most bendiest guy, but I think he's got a good first step. Might have one of the slowest spin moves you'll ever see, but somehow it's still just filthy and nasty. And it just works. I'm a big fan. I think I don't know why, he just kind of gets lost in this edge class. And I mean, I know there's going to be some people that really like Donovan Ezraku out of Boston College or Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina. And maybe you feel like those guys should be like maybe first round caliber edges, and they kind of get just lost in the sauce, lost in the sheer immense talent that is this edge class. Speaking of which, Dolphins, they're going to take an edge. They're going with a Jalen Walker edge out of Georgia. You're going to pair him up with Chop Robinson there. Part of me thinks this could be like we're probably going to move on from Bradley Chubb. If you haven't checked out my cap casualty video, I basically go over potential players that can be released from their contracts. And the Dolphins actually have quite a few different options in terms of like Terrion Armstead. They already have his heir apparent there in Patrick Paul. And you got Bradley Chubb, who's coming off the knee injury, didn't play at all this year. He had the injury late last season. And then you also have another injured tackle in Jalen Phillips, who's now got like back-to-back, I think, ACL injuries. So yeah, you could probably be looking for another edge. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And Walker, he's probably going to be a top 15 player. And then the Cincinnati Bengals are going to go with Malachi Stocks, safety out of Georgia. I think in that same video, I talked about Geno Stone as someone that can maybe cut, but he's a young player that you just signed. Maybe you want to see what you really have in him, because he's still someone that gets a lot of interceptions. So you could still actually make that move and bring in Starks, because he's flexible. He could really play anywhere, I think, in the defensive backfield. I really wish they would give Jordan Battle more snaps, because I thought he had a really hot end to his rookie year. And then this year, it's like, why is Von Bell out there getting more time than stinking Jordan Addison? I don't know if that remained the case for the whole season. I'm actually going to go look that up. But let's be fair to the Bengals, because they lost Daxton Hill. They lost DJ Turner early in the season. So it's like they lost some good, I don't want to say good contributors, but young talent they were hoping to see emerge this season. But yeah, Von Bell's out here out snapping Jordan Battle. Like, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? We got the Atlanta Falcons going with LT Overton. I literally thought I was the only one that loved LT Overton, so it's nice to see him here. I think in terms of size, speed, strength, athleticism, he's got it tenfold. He might be a little wet behind the ears. He might be a little raw, but he's definitely got this. I think this frame and these tools that you can develop. I mean, if you're out here talking about Mikael Williams, I don't know how you're not talking about LT Overton, but that's just me. Speaking of Mikael Williams, he's going here to the Seattle Seahawks at pick 18. I get it. Offensive tackle. Well, it's more so offensive guard, interior player. Isn't the sexiest pick here. And I agree. So I guess you can go with something along the defensive line because I think you have quality parts there, but you're still looking for that stud to come in and step up. And when it comes to someone who has the skill set of a potential all-star, that is Mikael Williams. Wow, it's so wild. Houston Texans are going to take a guard, which I was just talking about for the Seahawks, and they take Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. I think if I'm the Texans, we haven't seen, I think, a defensive tackle come off the board since Mason Graham. So it's like, I feel like I'd take a shot there because honestly, I would be shocked if most people can name like 3 or even 4 of their defensive interior players. It's just, they're very, in my opinion, very low ceiling, low floor players. So I would want to elevate that by taking maybe a Derek Harmon or a Walter Nolan there on the defensive interior. To me, that's a lot more alluring than going with a guard. Denver Broncos are going to go with Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. You're going to get this just consistent chain mover, someone who can attack the field at all 3 levels, especially on the short to intermediate. A nice, sexy security blanket for Bo Nix. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going with Landon Jackson, edge out of Arkansas. He's got a good size at 6'7", 280, gives him a versatile body type. And essentially this is who you're hoping usurps Logan Hall, who's just kind of not been what they probably expected or wanted since drafting him out of Houston. And then at pick 22, we got Colson Loveland going to the Chargers. Loveland gets to reunite with his former head coach in Jim Harbaugh. I honestly think maybe you go with the blocking tight end in Tyler Warren, who's also, well, kind of a great pass catcher. Just won the Mackey Award this past season. But Loveland, don't kid yourself. Loveland is the much better athlete. He's got the much better, at least the higher upside as a pass catcher for the tight end position than a Tyler Warren. But he doesn't bring exactly the type of body that instills confidence in you as a blocker. But honestly, he doesn't have to be with Will Disley there. Pick 23. Speaking of which, we got Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State, going to the Rams. Tyler Higbee's up there in years, so this one makes sense. They did bring in Kobe Parkinson, and he just didn't really step up in a big way. Whereas Higbee recovered from injury from last season, he just didn't really step up and was all that productive. So you go out and get Tyler Warren. I think that would make sense. We got the Green Bay Packers going with the Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. He's coming off a big game actually against Ohio State. Ohio State may have just thumped Oregon. Derek Harmon was out there bringing the pressure as much as he could. He had a hell of a game. And I mean, to be fair, Devontae Wyatt's kind of been meh. You could be looking for more interior help. You got TJ Slayton, who I know that's more of a nose tackle role, but he is a guy that is on the field quite a bit for the Packers. So you got guys you could probably move on from or looking to upgrade along that defensive material. I still kind of lean with corner though. Speaking of corner, you got Jahdae Barron going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think I love the fit here because I think Barron's just a better off coverage zone corner. And that just doesn't fit for the Steelers. They like playing their fair share of press and getting physical. And that's just not Barron's game. It's just not. But Barron does give you flexibility in the slot, but you already got Beanie Bishop there. So for me, it's like I'd rather go with like Trey Amos. You got Siobhan Revel at an ECU. Benjamin Morrison at Notre Dame. Then again, though, the hip injury will need to be checked out. Okay, pick 26. We got the Washington Commanders taking Ashton Gelote, edge out of Louisville. He does check a few boxes there for Dan Quinn in terms of size for the position. I don't think he's the most sure run defender, but I'm not trying to throw him under the bus or anything. I think he's solid, but it's not like there's better options in this class. But what he's done as a pass rusher has been really, really nice. He's been very consistent for Louisville, so the pick makes sense to me. We got pick 27. It's Kenneth Grant going to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's read this one. I'm kind of curious. Grant plays with the tenacity against the run and pass. The Ravens love building the trenches with early selections. I mean, if you're bringing in Grant, you're probably going to, in some way, shape, or form, move on from Michael Pierce. At least that would be my assumption. But Grant's good, man. He moves very well at 340 pounds. We got Mike Green, edge out of Marshall, going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Joshua Sweat's a free agent, so if you're looking to beef up the edge room there for Philadelphia, then Green would be a great way to go. He's my guy in this class. Absolutely love him. And then Buffalo Bills, they're going to go with Andrew Makuba, defensive back out of Clemson. I mean, this is a guy that's played on the outside, he's played in the slot, he's played deep, played in the box, and he's probably having the best year of his career there at Texas. He continues to just step up and make big play after big play, game in and game out. The Bills did draft Cole Bishop last year, though, in the second round, I think, second or third. So I don't think they'd want to invest in safety again. So are you moving him outside? I got questions. Benjamin Morrison, who would have been a great fit for Buffalo. He ends up going to the Minnesota Vikings here, who I think they're top. They're currently, I say top. Their lead snap getters at the corner position are all free agents. They've had a bad run with like injury history with corners as of late. So Morrison, just taking a corner here makes all the sense in the world. We got the Detroit Lions going with TJ Sanders, who is a tackle out of South Carolina. I love Sanders. I'm taking Walter Nolan. I'm probably taking Shamar Stewart. I think Shamar Stewart actually might be kind of the guy. You can make cases for JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer. Again, it's a very good defensive line class. I don't know why you're going with defensive tackle. Like Aleem McNeil is showing you good stuff. You still have DJ Reader there. I know he's a free agent, but Levi Onwuzurike has kind of stepped up as he's been more healthy this season. But I guess you could definitely go with interior. Didn't they get like a cat out of Western Kentucky like a year or so ago? Can't recall. And then with the final pick, you got Wyatt Millum, offensive tackle out of West Virginia. And I'm going to be frank with you guys. I'm going to be straight up. I'm moving him straight to guard. If you're not going to bring back Trey Smith, which probably not, he's going to be expensive as hell, then yeah, I'm moving Millum to guard because there's going to be questions about his length, but he's a very fluid mover. I don't hate the pick. I mean, there's other, I feel like, tackles. If you're looking for a tackle specifically, like Cameron Williams kind of feels like the type of tackle they'd go for. Light feet, but also super beefy, super strong. You make cases for Josh Cotterly Jr. out of Oregon, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, who's actually a really good scheme fit here. Yeah, Millum's just an unusual fit in my opinion, but I'm trying to think who didn't get drafted in this. I mean, of course, Walter Nolan's kind of the first big name that comes to mind. You could talk about some of the corners, but I understand it. Some people are really high on Jihad Campbell as a first rounder, and I'm not there yet with a linebacker in the first round. I'm just not. We just didn't see that. We didn't see tackle really come off the board. We just didn't in this mock. So I don't know. Fascinating. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But as always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.